Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Full Force News Burst live special with me, Christopher McLeod AKA Diagnostic 80, brought to you by General Joe's REBORN.com. Yes, I know it's Monday. Hope everyone's week has started all right. I hope everyone had a nice weekend. I would have done this on Sunday, but I did a Patreon special, and there's only so many hours in the day. Squeezing in that in and around, a bit of gardening like a proper adult. What happened? What happened to me? Seriously, what changed dramatically that made me have to do gardening? No, all joking aside, that was a very fun weekend. But that said, I did a Patreon special, so I couldn't do like 15 hours streaming on Sunday. So I thought I'd save this for Monday, and any other news that kind of pops up, if it did, but it didn't really. So not that I've really been paying attention. Actually, I've been really bad today. Well, focusing on other things, and have not really been looking at all at the GI Joe sphere. I should take this down. I don't know why I've got an empty Spirit Iron knife and low light box behind me, but yeah, I wanted to kind of take that down and I forgot. Anyway, yes, so today we are talking some information that popped up over the weekend, and that is obviously more leaked images. And I don't know, I'm really excited about these particular images, mainly because I would say that Dial Tone is one of those figures that I've wanted since the Classified series started. He's a figure that I've always really enjoyed from the vintage era, and because of that, I genuinely could not wait to see how they were going to approach the figure. I was kind of hopeful and then we got the render, and I was like, well, that's exceeded my expectations, because like I do like it when they do little updates and upgrades in there, and they manage not only to keep his very retro futuristic gear, but also update him in different ways as well, which we'll talk about in a second. I don't know why I'm doing all of it right now on this shot. No, we'll get some images going in a second. Just want to see how everyone's doing in the chat. Hello, team. There's a lot of you in the chat. Hope everyone's doing really well. Yes, we are talking leaked images courtesy of Shaw Liú, who has been basically like posting images of all sorts of prototype images for the last few months now. So thank you to Shaw for those images. Yeah, let's get stuck into them though, because that's what you're here for. And the people that are listening to this and not watching it, also, either way, you don't want to be listening to me going on and on and on. On and on and on, do you? Right, so here we are. I've gone with Dial Tone as the main image because, again, like I just said, I'm very excited for this figure. But it's not just Dial Tone's backpack that showed up. No, we've got some vest secondaries as well. When I first saw these, I wasn't paying attention. This happens quite often. And in my haste, when these were sent through, and I had like about 12 people send me this image and go, have you seen this? I just instantly thought we were looking at the retro secondary again, the retro Viper secondary, not really paying any attention to it. But obviously that was not the case. What we are looking at here are two different vest secondaries. We are looking at the Saw Viper in the kind of very light pink kind of color, or light flesh pink, and everything else in that kind of darker kind of gray brown color is Leatherneck's vest secondary, which is really cool. Scott says, people come here for leaks. I'm here for Chris's ramblings. Indeed, it's all about ramblings. RKW says, I'm guessing there was no sun out while gardening. How dare you? I refract the sun, I'll have you know. My skin is a porcelain white. My buddy Ash, we used to call him the porcelain man because he had the whitest skin ever. And we would go out to, it was myself and a couple of guys, we did summer camp together. We actually went as, counselors and basketball coaches and things like that. And we went to the same camp. And my buddy Ash went with us one year. And everyone else is kind of getting a bit sunburned, a bit tan. And he goes out there like, you know, topless most of the time and just refracts the sun into like he could literally just refract all of the light, and you'd never see him tan or sunburn or anything. I've never understood that. He's made of porcelain. Anyway, that's by the by. Justin Hardison, thank you so much for the super chat. Chris, love the show. Please tip your hat or wink if Retro Flint is coming in 2025. Can't wait for Dial Tone and Leatherneck as well. Does it give it away that I'm not going to do either of those, but I want to? Does that give that away, Justin? Anyway, I think we can safely say that there will be a Flint at some point again, won't there? I mean, do you know what I mean? Like, it's gotta happen, right? Okay. Justin, thank you very much for the super chat. I'm not going to be doing that with every single. Please don't do that with every single character. Chris, did you see that the Skyhawk? Yes. So the Air Eagle, Chris G. We talked about it on the weekly on Saturday. Yes, they made a post about changing the parts and all that kind of stuff. Yes, it's all been covered on the weekly on Saturday with Pat and myself. Or is this new? Are you talking about brand new? They've had to pull it off completely because they took it down from their website. They took it down from everywhere and they changed some elements and they made a post very recently. Are you talking about something that's even newer than that? That means they've had to remove it completely, because that probably would be news to me. I haven't seen anything about that. But if you're referring to the fact that they did get a C&D and they took a lot of things down, and they have made a post changing certain aspects of the design, then yes, I am aware of that, and we covered it in pretty decent coverage. Let me just have a look. No, it's the same thing. Yeah, we talked about it on Saturday. So they've added new parts and component relocations to make it look something more like that. But yes, we've definitely covered that. But thanks for throwing it in my direction, just in case I had missed it, because I am very likely to do that. Chris, if you were sent $5 for every character, well, do the math. Oh my goodness, yeah. If you do it, super chat me. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. I still feel bad when people do super chats. I feel like you're not getting your money's worth, are you really? And I just want to say thank you to everyone that does do that. It's very much appreciated, and it helps keeps the channel going, and it keeps it moving and progressing and improving. So very much thank you, Justin Hardison, for the super chat before, and to everyone that does that. It's very much appreciated. But yeah, I'm not going to be just going wink, wink, nod, nod every time someone mentions a character in the super chat. No. But that's funny, and thank you anyway. I like the cheeky comment anyway. It was great, Justin. Yeah, Leatherneck. I can't wait for Leatherneck as well. That's going to be incredible. I'm here for River Otter's code name to Stanley. Yes, we all are, mate. Yeah, let's get on with this then. So anyway, yeah, so we're looking at Saw Viper in the light color and Leatherneck secondary in the dark color. And just to kind of make it nice and clear and obvious, as we can see here, that is very much the Saw Viper that's a vest secondary. With those pouches, the kind of double strap scenario coming down the top here, and that space for the Cobra logo. It's all very obviously the Saw Viper setup going on there. It looks as though the neck piece will not only kind of not tuck into the front, but sit in just inside the front, but it also live as it comes out of the top there on top of the secondary as well around the sides. So that's an interesting kind of, design feature that's going to have with the secondary. Had to take my shot. It's totally cool, Justin. And I appreciate, again, just to the super chat alone, thank you. And I'll always do a cheeky answer, won't I? Let's face it. And yeah, so I really like what they've done there with the secondary and that kind of neck piece and the head. So I'm looking forward to seeing this entire figure is what I'm saying. The Saw Viper is a very awesome update. And yeah, it's looking cool. Hello, Luston Wallace. How you doing, bud? How much tripwire reuse in Saw Viper, says Stanley. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. There might be some elements. There might be some elements. Just having a look at the figure. It's hard to say at this point. I mean, a lot of people have already probably broken it down in terms of the build just off the render. I can't do that. I am so crap when it comes to figure part identification. I just do not see it. I'm like, you could redeco something and I'm just figure blind. Like I thought like Shockwave. I was just like, oh cool, Shockwave is just Shockwave, right? No, it's like completely new build. Throat guard. Yes, Stanley. Look, that's what it looks like. Kind of like that neck. I just call it a neck piece. But yeah. Oh no, actually no. That is not tripwires. It's two completely different pieces. So that has been shown side by side in comparison, and they're completely different shapes, which is really cool. So yeah, the throat or the neck piece isn't actually a reuse for tripwire, which again makes me laugh because all of these kind of pieces that you would say like, yeah, you should use that will be fine. No, they want to do something new with it, and it's totally cool if that's the case. If you had a camo jacket in your closet, would you lose it, Chris? Question mark. I'm not answering that question. If this Saw Viper doesn't come with the mega gun, yes, I would lost. In fact, I have a camouflage jacket, and I forgot where it was, and I couldn't find it for ages, and it was just in the closet. I just hadn't looked good enough. I just hadn't looked properly for it, and it's the bait one with the Duke on the back and the reversible. I love that jacket. It's so ridiculous. I also have the Bumblebee. I think it's bait jacket that is a reversible in that kind of bright yellow, and then you flip it round and it's the box art. It is unreal. The G1 box art from the Transformers figures, so good. And again, it's mental. It's a ridiculous jacket, but I love it so much. Oh, I've got people sending me things to do comparisons with. Yes, there's a great comparison. Thank you, Darren Marshall, for sending me this, of Saw Viper next to Tripwire. So it looks like, yeah, the legs and the thigh pads might be reused, right? They might just be recolored. Well, they're different as well. They're different as well. So the thigh pads on the Saw Viper look similar to Tripwires, but aren't the same. It's like, guys, just use them again. Just paint them a different color. I'm cool with that. There isn't any Tripwire reuse that I can see. Shoulder guards are different. Wrist guards are different. There might be some sort of base body, like maybe the arms or maybe the base body might be Tripwires, but then that's like, you can kind of say that about anything, but there's really not much at all in terms of what the Saw Viper rocks and what Tripwire rocks. In fact, the legs aren't even the same because the knees are different. They've got different knee pads. That's crazy, isn't it? So if you look here, that is Tripwire's kind of very bulbous, kind of soft circular neck piece, right? Keep that in mind. And well, you can see it on screen. And that is the Saw Vipers. You can actually see it on the screen still properly. Completely different. Almost like a two-parter connected together with different deco. It is, yeah, they don't share much of anything in actual fact, which is really interesting, isn't it? Because I genuinely thought, yeah, we might be just seeing bits from Tripwire, but yeah, not at all. Anyway, that's by the by. We're looking at the secondary. That looks really cool. So just to answer that question, Stanley, I think it was, not much at all in terms of crossover between the two figures of Tripwire and the Saw Viper. Now, we also get Leatherneck's secondary, which, again, really nice piece of kit, this. And we have that little kind of section that is missing on the secondary because that will be a plug-in sheath for the knife, as you can see on the render on the side. That is obviously missing here because it is a separate piece that is tooled separately and then glued into that spot, which is, again, awesome. Get a knife on it. He's got his grenades on there. It's a really cool little secondary, and again, it mimics the sort of vibe that vintage Leatherneck had going on. I should have got a vintage image of Leatherneck for the that's not how I spell Leatherneck, is it? There we go. Leatherneck 3D Joes I'll do. And let's have a look. Yeah, I mean, it does. It very similar to that vintage style with the kind of the padding, the dark color padding at the top, which is actually kind of like a dark green on the vintage figure. Like it's almost like a tealy dark green there. And then of course you've got the collar and everything going on. Then of course you've got that kind of tan element on the main part of the body, and you've got those other elements of the grenades are on there and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it is very much sticking close to that original figure, which I'm all for. And there again, you can kind of see it a little bit kind of clearer there, looking very good. They've obviously added a few kind of little pouches underneath the grenades, but you can kind of almost see them on the artwork. But then obviously the figure, the grenades take up quite a large surface area. Who's tealy dark green? That's genius, Scott. Just looked at the render of Leatherneck. Is the rifle new? Looks good. Yes, Johnny, it is. And funnily enough, there's been an image of Leatherneck's rifle as well, which I don't have in this photo set. I might be able to get it on a different one, though, mightn't I? Let's see if I can find it. When did I look at those? I think I looked at it with Pat on here. Yes, I did. Let's see if I can find that particular photo set. That's not it. Is that it? That's not it. I won't keep saying that. There it is. So let me just add this to the stage. You can. This is just because of the question that not the pet question, but the comment that pops up about Leatherneck's rifle. You can see it. I think that's it there on the leftish next to the Iron Grenadier sword, and that weird sort of like crowbar. Is it Hannigan? I want to say Hannigan tool for busting doors down and what have you. But like that, in between those two things, that I believe is Leatherneck's rifle. And it's I think a retool, I think someone mentioned. But again, I don't think we know until we get them in hand, really, because we're not really getting a great look at this one. But there is a sort of rifle like that with the grenade launcher on it. And I think that it also has a sight on the top. I can't. Who has that? Someone has that. One of you guys has it. Which one of you? Oh, Spirit's fallen over. I should sort him out. Someone has that rifle, but I can't think who. Anyway, it looks like it is a retool of that. They've taken the sight bit off, effectively. But yeah, that looks to be new, which is pretty cool. I just wanted to flip over to that just to cover that particular. Hey, that works, doesn't it? Just, when someone says, oh, what about that image that you haven't talked about yet? I'll be like, well, I can go and look at other videos I've done. In the old days, the Python Patrol Copperhead used Leatherneck's gear. Did he? I guess he did. I didn't even think about that. Do you know what? I don't think I have ever noticed that in my entire life. That is news to me. And I have that carded, by the way. I have a Python Patrol Copperhead carded, and I have never noticed. Not even dawned on me that he would have been given accessories that he wouldn't have had with his water moccasin, if you know what I mean. Isn't that hilarious? That is like a literal. Oh, it's completely new tooling. Thank you, Darren. So it's not like a retool. It is a completely new rifle. Thank you. Appreciate that. 3D Joe's Copperhead V2, I think he would be. Yeah, of course. Oh, do you know what? And then I'm immediately I see the card art and him holding the rifle, and it's like, of course he was given Leatherneck's gear. Yep, rifle and backpack. Do you know what? It's so funny. In my head, if you'd have said to me, what does Python Patrol, vintage Python Patrol Copperhead come with? I would have been stumped. I'd have been like, well, obviously not a backpack. Have that carded figure. I've looked at it a million times. Amazing. Anyway, this Leatherneck secondary is looking dope. I can't. Who's do you know what? Scott, oh, you're on fire today, mate. You're noticing them before I am. Loston says, I'm fine with characters using the same gear. I mean, it's not like they get embarrassed, like, going up to, we didn't get the memo of wearing the same dress at this wedding. Yes, I absolutely Loston. But I don't even mind if people wear the same clothes. Fine, go for it. yeah, it doesn't bother me too much, especially like for me, like I said, I am a little bit, what's the word? I guess it's, we'll have to coin a phrase. I'm secondary blind or design blind, I guess it would be, because if you put something in a different color, I'm just like, oh, that's new. It's so easy to fool me, and I have good eyesight. I just don't have sometimes the ability to focus on certain things, pun intended. I hope Leatherneck will be as large as Bazooka. Well, we've kind of seen the figure. I don't know if he's going to be Roblox size. I think he's going to be pretty standard, kind of height, figure height for the most part. I don't know. I'm not sure if he's going to be massive. I could be wrong. I haven't, again, really looked at that render at all to really get a good idea of what we're going to be getting, which is hilarious, isn't it? Anyway, yeah. So Stanley's headed to a wedding in Vermont this weekend. I'll enjoy that very much, Stanley. Yeah, I hope you enjoy. I hope it's a great time. Chris and Robbo both blind to reuse with a changing color. I mean, yeah, it's totally, that's what happens. I just, you put some, not like necessarily Tiger Force, because I know that's reuse and everything, but you could do like completely new build of a figure, repaint it, and I'll be like, oh, this must be a repaint of the first one, but I'll be wrong, and then I'll look at it closer and go, oh no, there's new things here. And in the same way, I'll get a repaint of something sometimes, and someone will say, oh, it's a new build, and I'll just be like, is it? Or that shares this part, and I'll be like, does it? But was it Barbecue and Destro sharing all those parts? And I was just like, no. And then yeah, it's bright orange. Hope 2025 has some Ninja Force related figures and some SWAT tactical soldiers for the 60th. They do have tooling for it, says Genu A or Genu L. Yes, that would be wicked, actually. Yeah, Ninja Force would be freaking phenomenal. I'd love some Ninja Force characters. Agreed. And you might be in luck. You never know. Leatherneck's cover might give him the appearance of height. Yep, true, Rachel. Absolutely. Anyway, that's Leatherneck sorted. Let's move on to Dial Tone. Now, I've utilized the render image of his backpack to, do comparisons with what we're seeing here, and it all looks pretty awesome. I've got to say, I'm really happy they've gone with the shape, with the original sort of design. There's a lot of elements on here, which is just pure dial tone. The little fan at the top, I love that little aspect. I like the little things that stick out on the side as well, which are kind of new-ish, I think. I don't remember them being so pronounced, if there are elements or details on the original that look so sticky-outy. But I'll have a look. Oh yeah, they were massively sticky. Of course they were. And also, I believe the circular fan was way at the bottom, wasn't it? Yeah. So they've kind of taken liberties with it, but I just love the fact that it is so dial tone. There's no question about it. The only thing I'm a bit upset about is the fact that on this render, you can clearly see on the right-hand side as you look at it that that's probably the flip down mic, right? But you don't see any of that on these images that we've seen because they're all taken from this side. So you don't see the other side and you don't see what's going on that side, which I really want to see. I really want to see those fingers. But yeah, I love the fact that they've taken some of those elements and they've continued with them. They've run with them. There's that little detail on the top, which kind of sticks out on the top of the kind of, I suppose, like the crest at the top. That's really cool. Like I said, I love the fact they relocated the fan because they've done something else at the bottom, and you can still see that kind of remnants of the the semicircle elements underneath at the bottom, the very bottom of the thing where that would have been originally, and it wasn't the full circle that was also cut off. So they've really, it's like moving some things around, making some things smaller, making some things a little bit bigger and more pronounced, but effectively they're following that original very well. And really I think they've really updated this. Not only are we getting this backpack, but again it's two deco. It's got multiple deco hits. You've got kind of like a brown and a grey going on the render. Sticky outy, an official term. It is, Rachel. Sticky outy is official, a technical term. Dave says, hey, Dave. Hey, bud. You're getting a rare post-midnight look in the UK from me. Thankfully, it's the holidays. Dude, hope you're doing well. Hope everything's going really well for you, bud. Maybe we'll chat later on the old Facebooks. But yeah, hope you're doing well, man. And thanks for popping in for a quick minute. Appreciated. Scott says, slice and dice needed. Yeah, I think they've got to be high up on the list, haven't they? They've got to be up there. Hey Maggots, we are less than 500 backers away from unlocking the gunner for HasLab. Actually, if I stay on long enough, we might reach it. No, it's not one of those days. I think that's probably going to happen in the next couple of days. You know, they've been like getting about 100 every couple of days now, haven't they? About that. I might have miscounted a little bit. But they've been, I mean, they were at like 3 something on the weekend. So it's kind of moved up to like 500 and something. So that is, you know, I could see it happening in the next couple of days, honestly. I'm not a dual tone fan, but that fold down laptop is cool, says TK Storm. Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. Scott says dual tone's backpack makes me want annihilators. Is that weird? No, just only wanting annihilators because of dual tone's backpack is weird. Just, you should always want annihilators. But yeah, similar vibe, isn't it, with their helicopter backpacks. It's matriculating, says Zed. Ooh, thank you. Lifeline or I riot? A riot of 1. 2. I'll join your riot, Stygian. I will join your riot because I want Lifeline so hard it hurts. Rachel says maggots are on a different channel. We're cheese bags in here. I guess we are all cheese bags. On the subject of ninjas, a bit strange that Nunchuck got such a relatively early release. Yeah, I would say that, Dave. I think it was like a left field choice, but a good one. Like if you're going to choose any Ninja Force kind of character, Nunchuck is pretty banging. Like the green and black, the headgear and everything, like his weapons and stuff. There's a figure I need to revisit. He's up here. There he is. You probably can't see him. No, you can't. He's right there. He's literally the closest figure to my hand. I'm going to pull all my gear out of the wall, aren't I, if I do that? Can we see Nunchuck? There he is. Can you see Nunchuck in the corner there? Pointing at him? Doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. But you mentioned Nunchuck, so I wanted to show you that he was right there. I'm going to have to get that figure again and play with him because that is a figure that is really cool. I've missed a lot of comments somehow. Jane UL says, for vehicles, a non-HasLab jet sold only on Pulse, repaint for Joe and a repaint for Cobra. That'd be interesting. Yeah. I wonder if he's essentially a network technician since traditional telco is an antique concept. Yeah, it's going to be, I mean, he's just going to be updated in terms of like, I mean, it's G.I. Joe as well. You know, it's not like he has to actually do this job in real life. Like he can be something that is a weird concept that doesn't really practically need that person. You know, a blooming tablet can do Daltone's job effectively now. Do you know what I mean? Like that seems harsh, but at the same time, yeah. Retro red and teal ninjas, oh, they'd be great. Like a was it Satan and a Ninja Viper? I'd like to see Ninja Coup as well. That'd be really cool. Make them actual characters would be cool. Satan, Ninja Coup, and a Ninja Viper 3-pack. Just all using Storm Shadow's complete repaints. I can't wait for Wetsuit, says Just Under Anderson. Yeah, Wetsuit's got to be a good one. Lifeline and Wetsuit are big, big characters that need to be in this line, as are Airtight, Mainframe. There's loads, in my opinion. I've always liked Daltone. The updates on his backpack are cool. Agreed. Thank you, Slave. Ed says, Nunchuck's not odd for being early. He had a turn as the Joe's silent weapons expert in the early 2000s when Quick Kick was out of trademark. Yeah, that's true. It just feels like, it did feel like out of all the Ninja Force, I'm not surprised it was Nunchuck, honestly. The others are a little bit kind of crazy pants, half wearing nothing, half, you know, kind of interesting, intricate kind of designs that would need a lot of unique tooling, whereas I think it wasn't all new, was it, for old Nunchuck? There was a bit of reuse in there. Still surprised they made Kamakura. There's Kamakura. That is a dope figure, yes. And that's another one I'm going to have to revisit. When do we get Jill Morelli? That would be cool. And also, we can get Jill Morelli because it's Jack's sister. They are brother and sister. They are not. It's not a gender swap situation. It's just weird that in G.I. Joe, when there's a brother or sister combo, they have to wear the same clothes. Or niece, uncle, talking Doc and Carla Greer. That's hilarious. I'm just going to wear the same clothes as you. Is that weird? Probably. It's like everyone wants. They just all want to be Ghostbusters. Yeah, the rest of Ninja Force not as easy to translate without major revamps. Yes. Okay, cool. Sorry, lots of comments, loads of comments. Sorry, guys, I can't keep up with all of them. There's so many. Chris, a little off topic, says Johnny B54. Do you ever buy third-party 3D printed stuff, Gridiron, Pixie Designs, etc.? Now, Johnny, I don't, but that's not because I don't want to. It's because I have to be very careful with what I purchase. Not as in because I don't want the SWAT team coming in, as in monetarily, like financially. I don't want to be, just getting everything. Like classified is my own, is like, it's just that. And even that sometimes is difficult to stay on top of. So it's not for any other reason other than that. When I see some of the Gridiron stuff, when I see some of the 3D printed stuff that people are putting out, I look at it and go, that's gorgeous. That's amazing. That looks brilliant. Some of the stuff Gridiron do is just out of this world. I'd be like very happy to grab a couple of pieces of things they do. I've come very close, actually. I nearly picked up Buzz's gear because I kind of wanted the backpack for him, and some other stuff, like retro kind of related stuff. So yeah, there are times when I look at it and I go, I do want to get some of that stuff. Maybe if I was if a situation, like if I was at a convention and I saw maybe like a little set or something and it was, reasonably priced, I might probably pick it up. And when I say reasonably priced, I just mean like a little over retail, because you don't expect it to be bang on retail or for sale or something. You expect someone to want to make something from it. And I understand that, but that's what I mean. Like I wouldn't, if it was like well over market price, then I'd probably struggle. But yes, any kind of Gridiron stuff looks amazing. Pixie Designs, I'm not 100% sure. I'm not sure. I'm not aware, I don't think, of Pixie Designs, or I'm having a brain fart. But yes, either or, and other people that do the 3D printed stuff, it all looks phenomenal. And I'm so in awe when I see someone do, like, I saw a warthog the other day, a classified 3D printed warthog with, like, troop access and like all the 3C and the missiles. It looked phenomenal. And I look at that sometimes and I go, I would love to have my own 3D printer sometimes and just knock one of those out, Kitty said. But yeah, like I said, not for any other reason other than I can't afford it. Oh, Pixis Designs did the massive Rolling Thunder. Then I do know what that is about, because that is phenomenal. That Rolling Thunder is crazy, is beautiful as well. The Terradrome as well. I've seen a few of those knocking about. Just yeah, I'm it just brings out the best in the fandom, doesn't it? Sometimes when you're not going to get something necessarily, there's always that backup. Yeah, Non-F is another one, Talib, that I noticed. With Swamp Skier, definitely that looked really good. Anyway, yeah, loads of cool stuff. Now we know what to get you for Christmas, says Blitz. Oh yeah, go for it. Just under Anderson, I got a ramen tank. Now that is nuts. Yeah, the ramen stuff, man, blows me away. That bridge layer, unreal. Anyway, yeah, I really just admire it from a distance, unfortunately. I'd love to be able to get involved with it all, but it's just, you have to be careful and financially responsible. And yeah, and when you got a house to maintain, that does throw a massive spanner in the works. But yeah, either way, it's all really cool stuff. Yeah, the Rolling Thunder by Pixis Designs is phenomenal, and it blows my mind every time I see it. But anyway, there's an image of the backpack. Now, this is what we're all waiting to look at. The flip down Atari 2600. The flip down, my first, what it looks like a speak and spell, doesn't it? Or am I misremembering? I'm probably misremembering. I felt like it had like a little raised bit for the screen. the speak and spell when it started to like not work very well, like lose its batteries. No, I'm misremembering. That was flat with a little handle. What was the one that had that little slight kind of? Maybe I'm thinking of like one of the kind of like VTech things they used to sell at Toys R Us. But it is, I mean, yeah, it does feel like he's rocking a gaming PC on his back, Joey. It does, doesn't it? Hello, Paul. It does look like an Atari. It does, doesn't it, Blitz? I think Pat mentioned that to me the other day. He said it looked like an Atari because he's like, you know, he knows all this stuff. And yeah, it does. It's got Atari vibes, big time Atari vibes. That's probably what I'm thinking of visually. That little raised bit at the back. Yeah, that's 100% Atari all day long. Now, does it come with a little controller that you could plug in? Because I think I'd lose it if that was the case. I don't know if there's any more intricacies to this thing, or if like the screen appears or can appear behind, like in that space to make it look like that's the keyboard and the screen goes in the back. But I don't know. It just looks beautiful. I'm really excited to see if there are any other little bits and pieces that are included in there or in this details wise inside and all that stuff. I don't know. I'm really happy with this. And I just love this little addition. This is what I love about Classified as well, is like you can take that kind of ridiculous aspect of the vintage era and still kind of produce it and it still works, and then add little cute things like a little flip down laptop or a flap top, as I'm calling this. Can I call it a flap top? Kitty said. I'm coining the term dial tones flap top. Okay, brilliant. It should come with Combat Dig Dug or Pac-Man. Yes, Loston, it should. It should come with a mini version of the JoJo Atari game. Even better, Justin, or better than that, the Action Force Atari game would be even cooler. Vectrex, says Stanley. Nice. Scott says, wish they'd used a better figure to model it. I just grabbed any old kind of custom, I think, didn't they, really? But it's all good. I don't mind. I just wanted to see the backpack, honestly. Yeah, anyway, it looks great. I'm really happy with the detailing on this. And if we go back to this image, I forgot to mention this before, but it does look like a little bit of like another secondary element where the back section is. I'm not sure if this is obviously glued in at the end of the day, or if it is flexing out like that by design to make it look like padding or what. But it might just be that piece is kind of coming out because it hasn't been glued in properly, or it might be showing that there is padding like that kind of sticks out a little bit. It makes it look even more kind of depthy and interesting. I guess we'll see, because we don't see it from that angle very clearly. You can just see an element of it, maybe just to the top of where it would connect to his back, just kind of protruding ever so slightly of that padding. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure how that translates, but we'll find out soon. And I love those massive circular things that stick on the end. And I kind of hope that is removable for some stupid reason, just to be weird and interesting, like another accessory that I don't even know what it would be, like an ice cream. It's like licking a scoop of ice cream in a cone. I don't know. But anything would be really neat. Yeah. Dial Tone should store some Joe Pros in his backpack for infield repairs replacements. The irony of leaked parts being displayed. All right, yeah, definitely. Would be genius if they did that. Loston, what was the question? She called the Combat Dig Dug or Pac-Man. Absolutely. So anyway, that is Dial Tone's backpack. And again, cannot wait for this beauty. And look at that flap top. That flap top is phenomenal. Cannot wait. Anyway, let's finish this off with a quick recap of what we know so far. Even though I do this every single time and nothing has really changed since the last time we looked at it. But obviously the leaked listings of 2024 is now just the almost complete listings of 2024. When as soon as Nemesis Immortal and Stardust to go up for pre-order, I assume around about the same time, seeing as we've got a figure in hand shown to us during the Stinger unboxing a while back, and Nemesis Immortal is arriving in the United States ports, it kind of lines up very nicely with PulseCon in September, end of September. So, or middle of September, actually. I tell a lie, it's middle of September, isn't it? Or is it end of September? I can't remember. Either way, there's about a month actually between that and 1027, or maybe a little bit more. But either way, we should know by October that should all be green, and that's exciting. Exactly 1 month till PulseCon. Wow, time goes rapid, doesn't it? Now, a couple of things I should mention actually to you guys. I have an interview lined up with I think Lenny and Tony at the moment. I'm not sure if BMAC can make it, but Lenny and Tony are lined up for an interview very soon. We're just working out the logistics of that. And actually, BMAC might be able to make that one still. So we'll try, and I definitely want to have as many people on that as possible. Emily can't do this one, but she will be back when she's not as busy. So there you go on that one. And what was the other thing I was going to say? I reached out very recently to Shooting the Galaxy again. So hopefully we'll get to get that set up soon as well. But very soon we will definitely have that sorted. So that's something to look forward to. And also I need to reach out to Brian Flynn soon, because I want to talk to him about his most recent kind of cons and all the kind of reveals they've done, including the O-ring line, which we haven't spoken about together yet. So that needs to happen. We'll get Brian on and we'll talk O-ring with him soon as well. Can I ask them about selfies, Chris? You mean selfie series or just taking pictures with them and like public? Either or, I can do both. Anyway, there's 2024. Bosh. 2025 is what it's all about. Now, we're almost getting to the point now where it's a bit ridiculous, and I might as well just unlock Smithers. But based on a recent-ish leaked part or accessory, storming outside. I just heard thunder. I think we can work out who Smithers is going to be. It's also kind of been sort of like leaked already, so I might as well just put it in there, honestly. But that's Darklon. Darklon is effectively a single, carded figure, as it's been already leaked and explained and said by other parties. So because of that, effectively that's what's missing there. So Smithers, you can just assume that's obvious, isn't it? Okay, cool, sorted. That's out the way now. So it looks like I assume that along with Starduster and either Nemesis Immortal or maybe Nemesis Immortal goes for 1027, I don't know, but including those two, I could imagine pre-orders get dropped for Xandar, Saw Viper, Leatherneck, and Dial Tone, because they're like start of this year, but of 2025, but they're revealed in 2024. So it's like end of the year reveal going into the next year in hand. So yeah, Xandar, Saw Viper, Leatherneck, and Dial Tone probably be revealed in 2024. And if they go up on pre-order, maybe I have to move them off the list. Maybe I have to put them into 2024 and green them up. Yeah. Hey, I can do that. That gives us more space to work with, because the exclusive side is getting a bit busy, isn't it? So I might actually do that as and when that happens, because like I said, I can't confirm that yet, but that's what my expectation is going to be. Okay, cool. TK Storm, I wouldn't be surprised if we get that character eventually. Do not worry. Just because it ain't that one, don't mean it's not one of the others. Thunder confirmed. Hilarious, Scott. Just the loud noise thunder, though, not the actual character. So as you can see there, it's Xandar, Saw Viper, Leatherneck, Dial Tone, and then, of course, Frag Viper, Blowtorch, and Footloose. And then, if we flip on over to the exclusives and miscellaneous, we also have Heavy Duty with Machine Gun as a deluxe figure. And I think we can expect him to come with his desk. I hope he comes with that bloody huge thing. I really do. And I can't wait to see what they've done with it. Law and Order, obviously, Salvador Pet. Very excited about that. And then we have a new figure and pet that's popped up, and that is Trent Pet. Hopefully we'll have more information about that soon. But as it stands, it's just a BB Trent Pet. It's just your standard figure pet combo. And then we've got obviously a lot of kind of red there. You've got the SP Phillip, which is a Target exclusive, GG Hudson, which is a Walmart exclusive. You've got Sewer Urchin, which is Fanmazon. And then you've got Terra, American made, both Pulse. Arthur Deluxe is the SDCC listing, according to information. Mancow is the Cobra Trooper with Claw. So we know that for sure, G1175. And that's obviously kind of been revealed now, so that's cool. And then another Pulse exclusive, Red Scare, which we don't have the public info for yet, unfortunately. Dinosaur Neil is the HasLab Rattler, so at least that is known, and we can, scratch that off the listings tick list. Then we've got a couple of legacy figures. Now, legacy seems to be the listing. They're putting in that word in the listing, which means that it's 60th figures, right? But obviously they can't call it the 60th in 2025. It'd be the 61st anniversary. So I'm guessing they're just switching the name to Legacy or something else. And that's, or it might just be for the internal code words only, and it might not be the name they go with, but it's very likely that is the case. If Heavy Duty comes shirtless, can we call him Naked HD? Stanley, you're a genius. Yes. Trent Pett is definitely Deep Six in his dolphin. Suka, that would be unbelievable. I'd love that. Speaking of Tiger Force, I still can't find Tiger Paw at Target. Yeah, I haven't been very fortunate at seeing that either, but I am fortunate in being able to have it. I did get it. I got it on Pulse originally, so yeah, I got lucky, and I'm sorry you haven't yet, Stygian. 36 Cypher's also having trouble getting that too. Who am I calling a man cow? Not you, Darren. I'm calling... who am I calling man cow? Oh, Cobra Trooper with Claw. Harsh, innit? And then, of course, Retro Classified. So we know, obviously, they've revealed Cobra Viper, Dr. Mindbender, and Rock and Roll as the name onlys. And it just so happens they're the first three in there. So you can see when they do their name only reveals that it is very much in the order at which they have them on the line plan, because that makes sense, because it's got to be in the line plan they're being produced in a certain order, aren't they, as well? So it makes sense that they kind of get ticked off in that order. So Viper, Mindbender, and Rock and Roll are Pinky Brain and Elmira. We've seen parts for Cobra Viper, so I think we can kind of see what we're going to get to a degree. There's going to be more to it, obviously, but I'm excited to see what's going on there, and hopefully they've got the chrome faceplate going on, Cobra Commander's kind of like Vac Metal vibe, because you wouldn't just do it for one figure, would you? You'd kind of want to at least do that for a couple, and it works for the Cobra Viper on that one. And then, of course, you've got Dr. Mindbender, which I think is going to be... if I was a betting person, I'd probably say it'll be roughly what we already have, maybe with a different cape, maybe with the Cobra logo on it, maybe different material, possibly, maybe slightly different design to kind of maybe match the cartoon or something. I don't know is my answer, actually, but it's very likely just going to effectively work as a reissue for Dr. Mindbender, because I think a lot of people missed out on him as the deluxe version, which is a phenomenal figure and a really cool deluxe box and presentation once again. And I think we can all expect Rock and Roll to be complete, just effectively his original version, his OG 13 version. Chris, what's your thoughts on the popularity, non-popularity of the retro classified line? It's become my favorite. 36 Cypher. I have a positive, surprise, positive outlook on the retro line. If you obviously take the first iteration of the retro series was a little bit, dare I say it, thrown together. I mean, it was not even that, really. It was already complete. I love the fact that they did Gung Ho. I think that was a win. Lady J's accessories, another win. And that figure in general, really cool. So I was really happy with that. Didn't care much for the kind of Baroness and Destro again, because it just didn't feel different enough. It was such a waste for me personally. But you got them on like a retro card back, so it's cool. It's all right. And of course, we had the issues with the original wave of them being flimsy card backs, and they didn't have the white border. Okay, so we get through a bunch, and then of course we have head scratches like Zartan and Storm Shadow, which again, Storm Shadow was slightly different, but not really different enough for me to care to the next level. You know, Zartan is it's a great figure, but I've already got like 16 Zartans. Like, you know, it just felt a bit. Anyway, as we get through that sort of like initial period, and we get to Crimson Guard, and you know, again, did we need a slightly different color Crimson Guard? I don't know. Probably not. And of course, the retro Snake Eyes, which again, check. I think that was a great addition. So Snake Eyes Gung Ho, Lady J's retro parts, Kitty said. I sort of look at those as the high points in the early phase. Then, of course, we got that Cobra Commander in the HasLab, right? And that was awesome. I thought it was a really good way of pre-doing the inevitable retro Cobra Commander, and to do the Mickey Mouse logo. Brilliant. You know, not everyone needs it, and not everyone's going to want the Mickey Mouse version. So if you didn't get the HasLab, you weren't missing out on much in that sense. You know, if you didn't care what version you were getting, you wanted the first version, great, you're going to get it anyway. And we have effectively. So getting into the next phase, I was super pumped. Duke and Scarlet, and obviously getting what's the word? Recondo in his regular gear. It was like, yes, brilliant lineup. We get like Rekondo's ticking a box, but it's a big box to tick, because I love the Tiger Force Recondo, but you've got to have the regular Recondo, and putting them on a retro card, perfection. Great idea. Retro Duke, Retro Scarlet, redos of figures, bashed them out of the park. Just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So that first wave of 3, I thought would win a chicken dinner. Then we got our first sort of like hiccup, I would say. And it was big enough to make such a fuss of the whole situation that I think going forward, they'll probably change tack of how they approach those kind of figures. And what I'm talking about is a Snow Serpent, because I was really excited for a Snow Serpent in the retro line based on the deluxe Snow Serpent, which is brilliant, but obviously stripped down, redecoed into like all the same white color or off white color with the blue, packs and everything. Great, perfect, brilliant, check. But not having the retro accessories was a real downer for that one, because I think the retro accessories make the figure interesting. I'm not sure if the updated accessories that he comes with do enough to make it interesting. Plus, they didn't give him the right, the rifle was there and available. I'm not quite sure why that didn't happen. It was like it was Dusty's rifle and backpack, which is so. Well, the backpack I can get away with, because, like I said, they redecoed that, and I was happy. I was like, yeah, I can't see the difference. But the rifle, that was weird. And I know it's that thing where you can supplement with the multiple weapons you have already. I know a lot of people don't use the AK-47 with the Sarge, so perfect relocation of that item, especially when I get that figure, which I still haven't found. So that is another thing. But I think that was a big kind of like kind of moment. The Eel, though, I'm totally cool with them doing something like that, where they do when they do a reissue for a figure that sold out ridiculously, make the slightest change, which I think is an acceptable change. It's ever so slight deco difference, and the the blue instead of the red kind of bits on some of the accessories. Fine, like that's great, but it's a good for people that weren't able to get one before, because and you can army build easier now as well. Like, those are gone. Those Amazon ones are like, see you later. Now we have the opportunity where we can buy more of those retro ones in army build again. So I think that is fine. It kind of serves a purpose in that sense. The Snow Serpent really needed some extra push with the retro pieces to make it stand out more. And yeah, like I said, I just think there was a bit of a missed opportunity there. And we talked about this in depth. But anyway, that said, the most recent wave, we've got a again, I think it's a kind of 2 out of 3 ain't bad sort of scenario. We've got the Stalker, which I think is amazing, and obviously again ticks a box for a an actual classic Stalker that follows the card art as well. So he's got the camouflage beret, which I think is a great addition. I know not everyone likes that, but I kind of like it when they do card art homages. I'm not going to lie, even if that is different to what the figure originally looked like or had, you know, something slightly different. I like that. I think it's really cool. Anyway, so, you know, I think that's a win. Cobra Commander with a vac metal mask, massive win. Considering, you know, and everyone thinking it was going to be the hooded, despite me saying it's not the hooded. It doesn't matter. Don't listen to me, obviously. But yeah, in that case, you know, it was very clear that was the defining characteristic of that figure that made it that extra cool. So yeah, really happy with what they did with Cobra Commander. Really happy with what they did with Stalker. The Trooper, though, I think that was a bit of a missed opportunity. They've missed a couple of good opportunities of doing a very classic Trooper and obviously having retro accessories with the Snow Serpent. But mostly everything else in this new era of retro, for me, I'm happy with, and in some cases ecstatic with. So I think the retro line can be great, and I think it is getting there, and I think it's much better than that first iteration. Much better. Like if you put it in comparison to what was released in that first, you know, wave of retro releases, this has definitely raised the bar. There's more tooling going into it. There's more budget being allocated into that aspect of it. So we're getting lots of like cool additions. And now they've worked out probably a rhythm, I would imagine, of releasing a classified style updated character that they know that they can strip down a little bit and redeco in order to give you something that is very classic. And I think, again, phenomenal thing with Stalker, and I can't wait for that Stalker figure. They have tooling to make a brand new, more modern or cartoon Trooper. They do. They really do. Retro Cobra Trooper should really have been packed with the red mask along with the black mask. Yeah, that would have been cool, Joey. I miss Beachhead. Yes, I did. Where did Beachhead come? Oh, yeah, he was in the... Sorry, I was getting hung up on Snow Serpent and Eel. But yes, Beachhead, another outstanding figure. See, money where my mouth is. Yeah, this is glorious. And I will say, though, I'm a big fan of the Cobra Island Beachhead. Big fan. Thought it's great. Really enjoyed it. And but then when I see this, I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't know I needed this as well, and I did, because there's something very beautifully classic about this Beachhead design. That again, it was one of those figures that you know always go to it. It's, you know, it was so well designed. It was so cool with the balaclava, the tampo, the 75 Rangers tampo. You know, the color choice, the beret tucked in his lapel, just like it was so, not lapel. I forget the term. I've used to use it loads when we were talking about this the first time, when people were going nuts about his beret in the Cobra Island line. But anyway, yes, phenomenal stuff. Love this figure. And I think this is what the retro line is made for, honestly. Getting proper retro versions of figures out there. Yeah. I would say that I'd have preferred his rifle to be grey, but they love doing green stuff. I suppose it's cheaper to just cast it in the same tool, but I'd have taken a grey blooming, you know, crossbow as well. Doesn't matter. People getting the Stinger already. I know, Stygian. We posted images of it a couple, like, it's probably about a week ago now, Stygian. It was probably on the last weekly we talked about in-hand Stinger images. Yeah, people getting that already. In fact, did I get a, what do you call it for that? I might have got an email. I may have got an email about it. Anyway, all exciting. I did get one for the Sarge. Did anyone get the email for the Sarge shipping soon? The Marauders one? It might even have shipped now. I need to check that. But yeah, the Sarge, Marauder Sarge, I can't wait for that one, just for the bag. Epaulette. Thank you, Scott. Thank you. Thank you. Really good and thorough answer. You're welcome, 36i. Well, I like it when it's a question that deep. Scott says the first iteration was a simple repaint line to satisfy a retailer exclusive. You're absolutely right. Airborne's Custom says, since Glenda comes with Flash's laser rifle and backpack and Retro Duke has his helmet, am I the only one that does not want the eventual Flash figure to come with that gear in mainline? Retro is fine. I don't know. I could see I don't know. I could see Flash sort of being on that sort of, what do you call it, on that fence where you could do the figure as is, and he's got his updates because he kind of was a bit futuristic and weird anyway. So you could probably release him in the normal mainline or the retro series. Either way, I think you could really get Flash out there. Or they may do some sort of crazy modern Flash, Airborne's Customs, like Rise of Cobra. Didn't even think about that one. They could do that for a mainline and then do Flash as a retro figure later on. This is probably something they've already discussed and talked about, though. Oh, I've just noticed I've got a crack in my bubble, Kitty said. I've got an ever so slight crack in my Beachhead's bubble there, look. You probably can't even see that, but there's a cracky crevice right there. Interesting. I'm not that fussed because he's going to be coming out anyway. But I do try to, take care of the packaging and then store it after the fact. Dreadnoug's bike possible, says Stanley. I think so. I don't know why they wouldn't be doing that, because they're a biker gang, aren't they? I love Retro Beachhead. Yeah, I wish his weapons were grey too, says the real Zim. Hello, Flaffle. I got an email for Sarge yesterday, says King Ape. Yeah, I think mine was yesterday or the day before yesterday. I just want to beat you, King Ape. So it was the day before yesterday. I don't know when it was. I'm going to look just so I can prove what date it is. It was Hasbro. Where is it? Where is you? Saturday. So you said yesterday, so it's Sunday for you. I got it Saturday. I wasn't lying, and I wasn't just saying it just to be a D-bag. I mean, I am, but I am a D-bag. But yeah, I got it on Saturday. And funny thing is, you will probably get yours before me in that case, now that I've put that out into the universe, King Ape. Yes, and still hoping for an unapproved Sarge. What can I say? I'm an inbox completist, says GL. I need to get Stingered too. Gross. I'd love to see them modernize Flash because he is futuristic enough to take some liberties. Yeah, I could see it. I could see them doing like a Rise of Cobra vibe with Flash, and then yeah, doing like a proper retro one in the future. But the thing is, guys, I mean, the fact we've got literally all of Flash's gear in a multitude of different ways, it's pretty clear we're going to get a Flash with that gear at some point. So if we do see something very modern, let's just relax. Let's just be like, we'll let them have that, because we know that it's coming at some point. I mean, it would be insane to have all of these parts and not actually make a retro Flash at the end of the day. Joey says, what's up with the Stinger's back platform not truly being compatible with the Vamp? You have to take the Vamp apart to remove the basket. Yeah, I don't know, Joey. I think they kind of want to make it so it's like not necessarily compatible, but obviously you can get there. But it's not something I'm that fussed about personally. I mean, are you thinking of painting it and then having like a green part, or are you having a nice little kind of two-tone with a little black what do you call it, foot peg segment on the back? I'm interested to know. Damage retro card, time to open him. Oh yes, Joey. I'm not going to do an opening now because we're already over an hour. Can we get Grand Slam and Zap with Grunt's head sculpt? Lol, that would be funny. I can't. Well, they're never going to do. I'm still amazed we haven't had a character reuse, a head sculpt reused for a different character yet. I am amazed that they've done that in this line, and I'm really happy that they continue to do unique head sculpts for all the different characters. That blows my mind. and I'm really happy that they're doing it. I can't wait for the Retro Vipers. Going to buy the Max on Pulse. Yes, Bryce. Retro Vipers are already looking great. Cheers, brother, says King Ape. Yeah, no, not yeah, it's rubbing it in a little bit. Email is usually 5 days before charge for me. Yeah, Scott, it's about that, isn't it? Airborne's Customs. I want the Hat Lesage too, but I bet it will only show up in Canada as it already has, just like the Black Waisted Cobra Island Cobra Trooper only showed up in Canada. I'm not gonna bother with the whole variant hunt on that one. I'm just not that fussed. Anyway, watch, they'll make a retro flash and give him Dusty's gear. It sounds like Chris knows, says the real Zim, sorry. TK Storm says, it sounds like Chris knows one of those unknown 6 retro figs is Flash. I can tell you, TK Storm, we know all but one of the retro carded classified figures, and not one of them is Flash. That doesn't mean the last one might not be. That might be. But I can tell you for sure, Good Feathers, Buttons, Mindy, Scratch and Sniff, and Hello Nurse, none of them are the Flash. Either the DC the Flash or our Flash. I'll need to go to True in Canada then. Thanks for the heads up. Yeah, same actually. Retro Flash plus Snake Eyes re-head equals Cobra de Acco. Cobra de Acco. Yes, Ben. That would be great, actually. Retro Viper needs to be a thing. I mean, it is nearly. Got a shipping soon for Sergeant Slaughter Saturday 2. Yes, Wilfredo. Really excited for that one. Retro Vipers versus Nightclub Force. Done. Anyway, cool. Right. That is pretty much everything, I think. Did I get through everything? I did, yeah. So that is all the listings. What do we know so far officially? Name only reveals are these. I'm so close to doing this bloody Let's Talk Classified Footloose. It will be one of these days this week when there isn't much going on news-wise, and I'll just jump out and do it then. I'll probably work on it tonight and try and get it finished so that it's ready for tomorrow. And bearing, in mind that we may have news during the week, I will just slot it in to one of those days. But Let's Talk Classified Footloose is coming. Obviously, Heavy Duty, Law and Order, Blowtorch, and Retro Rock and Roll are all pretty, we know they're all pretty. I would say I'm probably going to do Heavy Duty. Let's Talk Heavy Duty. Let's Talk Law and Order, and Let's Talk Blowtorch. Do I do Rock and Roll as well? Why not? The problem is I'm not going to go through all his versions. I'm just going to go through his version 1 versions, if that makes sense. Yeah, I'll do that. Things that look like version 1 Rock and Roll, well, that's what we'll keep it to. And then, of course, we've got Frag Viper, who I've done a Let's Talk Classified about. And, of course, Retro Dr. Mindbender and Retro Cobra Vipers. I think it's worth doing something on the Vipers. I don't know how important the Mindbender one is, considering we've already got a Mindbender to kind of really see what we're going to be getting. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'm not going to be able to get all of these done anyway, am I? Like, I've only got a month, and it takes me about 7 blooming months to do one episode. Anyway, that is that. And of course, the digital renders officially out there at the moment are Dial Tone, Leatherneck, Saw Viper, which we looked at a little bit closer today, Claw with Trooper, not the Claw Viper, and Xandar. Very excited to start seeing parts for Xandar showing up as well. I really can't wait to see that. Figure looks great, by the way. I'm absolutely in on Xandar. Kitty said. How many foreign Footloose figures are there? Argentina, Brazil, UK, and then obviously Europe have got Footloose in lots of different places. So I'll say Europe, even though that's like giving them a disservice because there's multiple different places that have specifically different, kind of releases, as it were, with different packaging and what have you. Sort of Mexico, but not. And am I missing any? I think that's it. I think, yeah, there's quite a few. Hey, Chris, real quick, what are your thoughts on the bear claws image shown at SDCC? I think it's a bear. It's all I'll say on that one, King. I think it is. I think the kind of like the common sort of thread I've seen is like Snake Eyes and the polar bear, because that's the only thing I can really think of other than like Big Bear. But that, I don't think they're going to do any sort of like Russian, Ukrainian sort of vibe. I don't think they're going to touch that for a while. So in terms of the bear, I think it could be something, because there's a lot of like Snake Eyes talk going on as well. So I don't know, but I would say it's got to be some sort of animal, companion or otherwise. In the case of Snake Eyes and the polar bear, it wasn't a companion, it was an attack. It was like a versus pack. Will I have another fan Q questions thread on Facebook before your Q&A? Oh, yes, Stanley, I will. For the, you mean before I do the Hasbro interview? Yes, I will. I'll post a little thing and say, hey, we're going to be talking to Lenny and Tony and BMAC. What questions do you have for them? Yes, I will do that, 100%. Will there be any female retro figures, Blake? Yes. I'm not saying any more than that, though. Frag Viper version 2 Snake Eyes. Oh, that's actually not a bad shout, is it? That's not a bad shout at all, considering they kind of did that with the club, didn't they? Utilized a Snake Eyes version 2 for Frag Viper. Well, they made him look a bit skinny, the Frag Viper. And we've sort of, I think, we haven't seen Frag Viper's legs, have we? No, we've seen Retro Viper's legs. But I don't know. I think they're going to do some, well, have we seen Frag Viper? No, we haven't. It's just a name only at the moment. I got confused then and thought we'd seen Frag Viper, but we haven't. Anyway, I'm going to call it a night now, guys. Quinn actually is a good shout, Johnny. Quinn with a bear. That's a good shout. Anyway, Refrigerator Perry, figure and pet bear. He played for the Bears. Yes, he did, indeed. But that would also be amazing. I love these ideas. Anyway, I am going to call it a day there, guys. Sorry. Thank you very much for joining me for this News Burst Live, which was about Dial Tone's backpack and a couple of other secondary leaks, courtesy of Shaw Liú, on Weibo and all that kind of stuff. But instead, it devolved, as it always does, into a massive Q&A. But that's fine. It's all good. Let's keep it going. Have a great rest of your evening. I hope you get into the week. I hope it's a good one for you. And I hope it's Friday before we know it. I will see you most likely tomorrow. If it's not with news, it'll probably be with Let's Talk Classified Footloose. If I can get it done, you know I'm going to try. I'll see you on the next one then. Stay fresh, cheese bags. And as always, after 3, 1, 2, 3, full force. Laters. That's it for this installment of the Full Force News Burst. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe. See you next time, and as always, full force. Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos, and as always you can keep up with the show after listening by following on X, formerly Twitter, @The Full Force, liking the Facebook page, facebook.com/The Full Force. We've also added a brand new Instagram, so check us out there as well, @The Full Force Podcast, and if you would like to contact the show you can message us on any of those platforms with feedback and questions. We also have a Patreon page, so if you want to show your support for the show, see your name up in lights on these videos, or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/The Full Force Podcast, or click on the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force.